So we have an awesome guest today. So we do these trainings every single Wednesday. This is our Team Gogo production related training. We do it every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we have an amazing guest today who agreed to share her knowledge, which is absolutely amazing. Katie Caven is our guest today. And she is, listen to this, she's only been an agent for a little over 9 months. And she did 10 deals last month alone. She was our top producer for the month of August. So it's our absolute honor to have Katie on here with us today. Usually we start this meeting with our mortgage minute. So I want to see if Randy Gammo is on here yet.
Just 1 o'clock. I sent it to him.
It's just 1 o'clock. Can you call him very, very, very quick?
Yeah.
So Katie, before we start, hopefully, oh, he's here. He is right here. Awesome. So usually we start with mortgage minutes. That's pretty much just gives everybody an understanding of what's going on the mortgage side of the industry. We usually get the quick numbers on the 15, 20, 30 years rates, and Randy is here. So Randy, are you ready to share what we need to know on the mortgage side today, and try to keep it under 5 minutes? Go.
All right, hey everybody. So a couple of cool things we're going to actually go over. One of the really cool things that I'm going to give you is really a cutting edge product, something new that's been brought out, but it's going to help you close files faster. But first, I'm going to start off again with the mortgage. So we talked last week about what happened with the Fed. I think I told you guys we plan on seeing the rates go up a little bit. They didn't go up tremendously, but there was an uptick, and part of that again had to do with the bond buying program and things like that in the secondary market. So the 30-year did climb up a little bit to about 3.125%. The 15-year went up a little bit to about right around 2.3%. So you are going to see these generally go up. You won't see a tremendous incline in rates, but they are going to go up. The good news is some things have been more relaxed. For example, there used to be what's called a loan level price adjustment on investment properties. So that's actually gone. That's actually done with. So now it's going to make financing investment properties a little bit more affordable, which is kind of cool. So there used to be a
Can you explain what that means?
Yeah. So basically, you used to get an investment property. Just to get the investment property loan, there's a rate, there's pricing. So for the rate that you offer somebody, you make so much money. So let's say 3% pays you 2%. So it used to be, if it was an investment property loan, 3% would only pay you 0.5% because you had a 1.5 point hit against the pricing because it was an investment property. That's done with. So it makes investment properties a lot more affordable today than they were last week, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
And just so you guys know, I think I told you, I ordered one of those big boards. So from now on, I'm actually going to actively be drawing stuff. So that way you kind of see what's going on behind me. Well, that's coming up in the next one. We haven't, but we haven't moved into the new office yet. I might just set it up here and do the meetings from there going forward.
Awesome.
So I'll have the illustrations up. But the really, really cool thing, I don't know if any of you guys saw the video that I posted, but we posted a video about something called Bolt. So we're already known as one of the fastest closers in the area, which is kind of cool. You know, we help you get your files closed as fast as possible. And guys, I'm not on here for us listen business, but I want to tell you about the stuff we're doing. So maybe you can expect some of the same things from your lenders. But one of the cool things that we have is we have this product called Bolt. What's happening is we're essentially, so we have roughly 3 times the staff of a normal company our size because we want to give you guys the absolute best service. What we've done is we've essentially turned our processors into underwriters. So now we're essentially getting them to power to underwrite the file. Just to give an example, the first file that we put in yesterday that was a W-2 borrower, we literally put it in at 11 a.m. and we got a clear to close on the file at 4 p.m.
No way.
Same day closing, which is like, it's unprecedented. Like it's not going to happen on all the files. But let's say you get an appraisal waiver on the file. It's conventional W-2 borrower, guys. It's not far-fetched to say you bring that on Monday to close it on Friday. So again, what does this do for you? Faster closings, less communication with your borrower, impress your borrower, your buyer, I should say, not borrower, your buyer to be able to get more transactions from that. So if you have a great referral source, somebody you want to impress, say, Randy, hey, can you get this loan closed in a week? Yeah, I can close it. We can close it in 4 days, possibly. We can close loans literally as fast as what's federally allowable, which is 3 days. So from start to finish, Monday comes in, you can close as fast as Friday if they do everything in the past. So it's a game changer. Look what it does. Imagine now what happened is you used to take all your documents, you used to upload everything separately. Now what's going to happen is you take all your documents, you upload them all in one shot, What happens is the software actually identifies what each document is and automatically categorizes that document. It's unbelievable. But again, this is only for you to get more referrals to impress your buyers, so you can go ahead and get more clients from them, increase your business, and honestly not have to deal with them for 30 to 45 days. You know, the average turn time right now on a closed file on a W-2 borrower is 29 days, industry standard. Ours is.
We love it. Clancy was like, yeah, I don't want to deal with them for 30 days. Not only that, but I'm going to mute. Dwayne is actually unmuted. Honey, I'm going to mute you in your office. He's fishing right now. He barely has cell service. I don't even know how he joined.
Oops,
There we go. Okay.
no idea we can see guys.
Dwayne, can you mute yourself, honey? I can for some reason. So yeah, keep that in mind. Not only that, but in multiple bidding situation, imagine if you can present your offer and say, I can close in 7 days. It's not cash, but I can close in 7 days.
Well, I'll take it one step further though. Imagine.
Just as good as cash.
Yeah, Christy, do you mind? Can you put that information down there if you can, pretty please? So look, but just listen to this. Look how cool this is. Imagine presenting your offer with a conditional approval.
Is there enough?
That's where it's crazy. So now you're not submitting a pre-approval. You're submitting a full-out conditional approval with your offer. Do you think that's gonna impress sellers? Do you think that's gonna impress other agents and you know, really your buyer? You're taking that file, instead of submitting it just with like a pre-approval, like everybody, a very standard pre-approval, you're literally essentially submitting it with something just as good as proof of funds that tells what exactly is needed to close that file. So if you're submitting with conditional approval, again, it just makes your offer that much stronger. So you go in and it's a competitive market, that's how you win.
Thank you, Randy, for being here. Christy is going to share your information in a second in the chat box for the people. Yep, one last thing, go.
All right, one last thing. I sent you a couple links. Again, this is pretty rudimentary, but now whenever somebody from the team, someone from Team Gogo comes over, we do have links where you can actually just fill out. If you want to be contacted by me, there's a link that Christy and Gogo are going to have. You can just say, hey, contact me. And then for your borrowers, what happens is they just hit a link. Once they hit the link, what it does for us, it allows us to track who you sent over. It allows us to give you a status update on those files. And it allows us to be accountable for anybody that clicked the link, because what happens is we'll share that, you know, with you every week. So you'll have a link for contacting me and a link for contacting the borrowers. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible. We are making that a little bit better, but that's what we have for now.
I'm smiling over here because I usually get involved when stuff doesn't get taken care of. And then Christy calls and says, don't make me send Gogo on you. So that's great. Then we have a report, because then I can call Randy if Randy drops the ball and be like, Randy, what happened with Bat's file that she sent over on the 27th, Randy?
You know I won't drop the ball.
I know you would. I use you personally, so you wouldn't be on here if I didn't trust you. But thank you so much for being here. Chris is going to share those links so everybody gets to use him. And today's guest, it is Katie. Katie is our top producer in the Team Gogo family that we like to call ourselves, the Team Gogo International family. And the cool thing about her though, guys, she's only been in the industry a little over 9 months. And in last month alone, she did 10 transactions. So when I saw her numbers, I was like, whoa, you need to teach us something. So Katie beat me by probably a couple 6 digits, guys. I made $16,000 in my first year of real estate. Okay. I probably paid more in my fees and gas than how much money I made in the first year. So I was not Katie, right? I wish I had a Katie in my life to tell me exactly what to do so I could just copy and paste. So this is what we are going to talk about today. Katie, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to learn from you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gogo. That intro gives me a little bit of imposter syndrome going into this here. I just need to share my screen. I've got a little bit of a PowerPoint just to stay organized and on task here with you guys.
Awesome. You should be able to share.
Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Can you guys see everything okay?
Yes, we can.
See the PowerPoint? All right, here we go. All right, so today we are going to talk about how to turn relationships into commissions. This is really all that I've done since I got started in the business. I jumped into this without really knowing anything about real estate, to be honest. I felt good about my testing went well. I felt fine about my MLS classes and being part of EXP. But at the end of the day, I wasn't really sure how to write a contract, especially in this market where we're dealing with 10 offers on a single house and they're overlisting. And I was kind of freaking out a little bit. But this is what I did to make it happen in this market as a new agent. So that is, we'll go into background a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I've got to move this here one second, the relationship process.
Okay.
So we're talking about planting and growing, closing the client and making it a seamless experience. And then we will have a couple action steps at the end.
Awesome. Can I ask you though, what did you do before? What's your background?
Yeah, so that's
Right
actually
here.
my next slide. So my background is in occupational therapy. That's what I went to school for. I got a master's degree, worked in the hospital setting, and then worked in pediatrics. Did that for the better half of a decade, left there because my network marketing job was going well. So I went into network marketing. I'm also a dance coach, run a program here in our local community. I'm a mom of 3. They are 9, 7, and 4. And my husband is a teacher and coach at our school. And real estate was always something I was interested in, never really took the leap, decided to finally just do it, see what happens, joined EXP off the bat. I actually joined EXP before I got my license. So that was fall of last year. My South Dakota license came first, just after Thanksgiving last year. And then my Iowa license went through in February. I live right on the border of the 2 states, so it just made sense to me when we're looking at clientele moving back and forth to do it that way.
That's awesome. I'm going to add on to that because we also have outsiders on here, so they may not know. At EXP, guys, you can have multiple state licenses and only 1 cap and 1 cut. So you can sell homes in Iowa, you can sell homes in South Dakota. They all go towards that one $16,000 cap. So that's amazing that you're taking advantage of that, Katie, because now you can take all of these transactions towards that 1 cap.
Right. And that's exactly why I came here versus anywhere else, because I knew that it made sense in my business to do more than one place. And this just was the right fit. The town I live in is less than 1,000 people. It's very small. We don't have a stoplight in town. There's not a lot of houses.
Wow.
People very often, they plant down, maybe take their family home or a farm. We don't have luxury housing. The most luxury you're going to get is, a farm place with a couple cattle sheds. That's the value. I'm a solo agent. I'm not on a team. I am, to add into here, I am next to a bigger city in Sioux Falls, about 20 miles away from here, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And so that's where I kind of get both sides of the spectrum here.
Kind of interesting because I'm in a town called Pinckney, Michigan. Good luck finding it on the map. We've tapped you though. We have 9,000 population. Okay. Do we have a stoplight in Pinckney?
Yeah, we do now.
Oh, we do, right by the new CVS. We do have a stoplight. Okay, we stopped you there too. But here's the power of you can get it done when you want to get it done. With social media, but whatever systems you're going to use, you do not have to live in a metropolitan area to pull numbers.
Exactly. And, I'll get into this a little bit too, but with EXP, we've got a great referral system. And so one of my first deals came from another EXP agent in Minnesota who referred their client to me, who was, they were moving to South Dakota. So that has been a huge asset to my business as well. A little bit about my numbers. My first closing was in May of this year. I've had 16 closings between May and September. 10 of those were in August, like Gogo said. In August, I also capped, and at EXP, like she mentioned, it's all under one umbrella. So both of my state transactions count towards 1 cap, 1 umbrella, $16,000. So now I'm earning 100% of my commission.
Woo! When is your anniversary date?
Oh, well, I joined in October or September or October.
Yes.
My life didn't go through till the end of November.
So December 1st is probably your anniversary date, which means you have until December of next year to be at 100%.
Right. Yep. So everything from
this year, yeah.
Anniversary. Yep. This
until
year.
December. Yeah. And then you have again starts over a different bit. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so with that, with the transactions I've already done and where I'm at with my current listings right now, I should easily do over 100,000 in my first year.
Woohoo! 6 digits. Love it.
The average sale price, like I said, I'm not in a luxury market. When I take my total transactions and divide it by the 16 I've had, my average sale price is just about $272,000. There's my total sales. So out of those 16 transactions, I had 13 clients, 12 houses, which means 4 of those were dual agency. which is legal where I live.
Yeah.
And 3 of them were in South Dakota, 13 were in Iowa. And like I mentioned, 1 came from out of state. And then I also had another transaction, which would actually make 17 because it happened so quickly, because I had a buyer ready to go that same night. We basically did it as an off-market for sale by owner type situation. I work pretty part-time. I know that sounds a little bit crazy. I think we're always all full-time in real estate, but I do try to really set boundaries and work part-time because I do have other jobs. I've never paid for a lead. I really only do referrals. And referrals, I mean, it needs to be the client I'm working with has to be somebody that I know through somebody else. The only client I have worked with that I didn't know before I showed them a house was the out-of-state referral. Every other client has been in my sphere of influence or knows somebody in my sphere.
Awesome.
That's a personal preference, and so far that's been working okay. And I don't have a transaction coordinator or virtual assistant, so I've done all of this on my own. That may change one day, but I've definitely learned the process pretty well.
That's awesome.
All right, so subject of today, relationships are everything in this business. So the relationship process that I've really looked at when I break down my business is step 1 is planting seeds and demonstrating growth. And we're going to get into these a little bit more. Step 2 is closing your clients. And step 3 is making the experience very seamless. And then that just keeps repeating. So the first
happy people refer, right? So that's why I want to make it seamless, because they're going to be so excited and they're going to get the best house they always wanted, the home of their dreams, and for the least amount of money. And you made it so sweet and they just got to the closing table, right? Guess what happens? They refer. They're going to refer their friends and family and everybody that ever has real estate needs. They're going to tell them to go to Katie.
Absolutely. So the first question to ask yourself is, does everyone that you know that you are in real estate? If they don't, that's where you have to start. Everybody that you know has to know that you're in real estate, whether you've been in real estate for a month, whether you've been in it for 10 years, or whether you're thinking about getting your license. They need to know that when they're thinking about buying or selling, or they know somebody else who is, that you're in the business.
Katie, I need to stop you for one quick second. Team Gogo agents on here, if you're on here watching it live on a Zoom call, we have a lot of guests that can come in and they cannot watch it in the Team Gogo Facebook group because they're not a member of the Facebook group. So can I ask you to go to the Facebook group to watch it live, to make space for guests? If you could, all you need to do is just hop off the Zoom and go into the Team Gogo Facebook group, and then we can all watch it there live, but the guests cannot go there. So that way we can free up some space. Thank you. Oh, look at awesome. Okay, we should have space. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, Katie, continue.
Okay, so step 1 in that relationship process is your lead generation. And really, when you're using relationships as the source of your business, your lead generation just simply comes from planting seeds and demonstrating growth. So like I said, relationships are everything. This is your lead generation. I've never paid for a lead. I've never used OpCity or anything like that. I've never had my brokers send me a lead. Relationships are my lead generation. We've talked about it before in other trainings, but people need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you, not just in real estate, but other facets of your life. So you need to be everywhere, you need to know everyone, and you need to do all the things. That a lot of that comes through social media, but it comes from being involved in your community. So when you think about who you know and if they know you do real estate, you're going to have a team of people around you. So you maybe have a spouse or family members nearby. You've got your friend circle. And if you work another job, you have colleagues. If your kids are involved in activities, or, they've got friends with parents who are in the community involved, you need to be out there. People need to see you. They need to see that you're working and doing your business, and always connect you with real estate. If you are not doing any deals, this is where I started. When in that time between November and May, or February and May, when my license went active until my first closing, I did not have signs in yards. I did not have deals that I could share about on social media. I couldn't say, oh, look, I had this great closing today, or here's a new listing I have. So what I had to do was demonstrate growth as a professional, just showing everybody that I'm doing something. So using social media for that, like Gogo is obviously an expert in, and taking that, experience and taking that lead and watching other people do that, but sharing if I was at a class for my MLS, or sharing if I was on a team call like this, but always sharing that I was doing something related to real estate, even if I didn't have a listing at the time or a buyer. Along with that,
it's called the shameless self-promotion, right? You have to like I love how you said, does everybody know what you do for a living? Don't be that closet agent or that secret agent of like, oh, I wish they know that I'm a realtor, but I'm not going to say anything about it. You have to let the world know. If not, they have no way of knowing it. So it's a very easy step of doing. How much would it be to buy a Team Gogo t-shirt, or not Team Gogo, but like someone's branded t-shirt, not them buying ours? $8. Can you afford $8 and put your brand on it? Go to a printing company, buy a Walmart shirt for $2 and print it on there for $8. Okay. And then when you go to your children's soccer game, you're going to have your own brand on there. They're going to ask you about it, right? So you need to have that opening conversation, but you have to be okay with the shameless self-promotion. So initially, when I didn't have anything going on, guys, I scheduled a showing and I did a live. I walked through the property and I said, oh, guys, I'm showing this property today. I didn't have a client to show it to, right? But I was showing it to myself. They don't need to know that, but I was showing this property. That makes you an expert. They see you working, they see you hustling. All you need to do, your job is to stay top of mind. Just keep reminding them of what you do for a living. And you can literally schedule yourself. Tuesdays, you do new constructions. You go to a new construction and go live and show it. And make sure you post your KV call link so you can actually capture their information, because we don't post to post, right? You post so you can capture those potential buyers. Let's say Fridays, you say, hey guys, I'm sitting at this coffee shop. I'm running CMAs. If you want to know how much your home is worth, I'm here between noon to 2. All you need to do is click the button below, or, if you're using your old KV calling, or if you're doing a swipe up and put your email address in the box on Instagram, right? So now you're collecting their information. You're going to sit at a coffee shop for 2 hours and run some numbers. That person is going to become a seller at one point. So don't be afraid. If you don't have work, create work.
Exactly. And when Gogo's talking about the shameless plug for yourself, that's what I'm saying here with marketing matching your growth. I just had a shameless plug as a magnet on my own car. So wherever I drove, my name was on the side of my car, just on a magnet. I could take it off if I really didn't want someone to see it, throw it back on. But when I'm parked at my kids' activities, when I'm in the school pickup line, when I'm going to church and my car's parked in the parking lot for an hour, my name was always there on the side of my car. So even if I wasn't having those conversations with people, or I didn't know somebody, they now saw my name connected with real estate, because at the time they weren't seeing it in yards when they were driving around town, but they could see it somewhere. Sharing obviously in your Facebook and Instagram stories as far as marketing goes. And then from there, finally got a listing, and those listing signs then became the marketing tool as people were driving around. All right, so really important to keep in mind, this is what I learned through the process. You are not selling houses, you are selling your services. So as we move on to closing your client, keep that in mind. So your clients are coming from step 1. You've planted your seeds, you've demonstrated your growth. They're gonna now finally pick up the call, or pick up the phone and ask you what you have to offer, whether they wanna see a house or they're curious in, kind of interviewing agents to list their own. This is the next step. You need to close the deal with your clients. So checking your database or your SOI. So however you choose to use that, a spreadsheet, whatever database you use, if you use KV Core, I just have a Google sheet, and I put in there what city this person is in, whether they would be a client if I've heard they're looking to buy or sell, or whether they're just a friend or family member, so they're a referral source for me. Maybe they're a lender or an agent with another brokerage. Whatever it may be, I put that in there with their name. And then any notes about them. So maybe where they work, or, what I heard through the grapevine of what they're looking for. They're looking to sell in the next year, whatever it may be, that goes in there as well. Now, Google Forms, I was going to share this here with you real quick. I hope you can still see it when I move it here. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. This is a form that I made. So when people reach out and they say, we're looking at maybe moving eventually, but not now. And, we're not working with an agent yet, but just if you see anything, this is what I send them. I just send them a link to this Google form. It captures their information. I just made this from scratch with information that I thought would be useful for me. So it has just their demographics. If they're working with another agent, that's really important to know off the bat. And if they've signed papers with somebody else, I want to know where they're looking, school districts, do they have a home to sell? Because that is how you turn one transaction into two. They're a buyer. Do they have a home to sell? Because then you're looking to get 2 transactions out of this one client.
Okay.
You know, asking about financing, price ranges, the layout of the house, all of those things. And then asking some specifics like pets, young children, is that important to them? And then here it is, as far as setting boundaries, I have kind of my times that I'm willing to talk and show a house and whatever it may be. And so what out of there works best for them. So that is a buyer questionnaire that I send them a link, they fill it out, and then I have it forever. So I can go back and check that database when I hear that something's on the market that I think might fit their needs. I send that information to them then, whether they're ready to buy or not. I send them the listing. It might be enough to kind of push them into being a little more serious. Along with that, if you have Paragon on your MLS, there's a collaboration center you can set up. So you can use that information to set up kind of an alert system. Sharing listings on social media. So just what Gogo said, walking through new construction, scheduling a showing, share that new house on social media so people can see what's out there, and then checking the weekly MLS for buyer needs. Now, once you get to that client's house and you're either showing them a property or you're talking about the listing, here's where it comes as far as closing your clients, where the important part is. Come prepared. So not overwhelming them with information that they're not asking for, but come prepared to share what the buying or selling process is. Have your paperwork ready to go. So if they agree, you can sign the papers that day. You know, for sale by owners and Facebook sales and all of that is really popular right now. So showing your value and your knowledge of why working with an agent is so important. That has probably been my biggest competitor where I live, is people who just put the for sale by owner sign in the yard or listed on a different website, not working with an agent at all. So not necessarily competing with another agent for the listing, but competing with the for sale by owner idea. And researching the property, knowing what you're walking into when you get there. These are kind of common sense, but being professional and relatable, always communicating, valuing yourself and having confidence, even if you've never ever had a listing before or never had buyers before, exuding that confidence in those conversations, and then not settling for less. So just because you are a new agent does not mean that you should discount yourself on your services that you're bringing to them as far as commissions go. And don't
yeah, can I add on to the be professional part? What I realized, and it took me a hot minute to realize, but we are actors. We are not realtors, we are actors. And the reason I say that is because your client, as soon as they can relate, right, then they're like, oh my gosh, I love you because you love U of M. I love you because you love this side, you know, this political thing, which you try to keep yourself. But I may or may not have lied about my political views just to get a listing. I may or may not said that I like a certain sports team just to get the listing, right? So in order to get that, you also need to learn body language. If your client is slow, and you know, they talk this way and they're very meticulous. If you show up and you start talking like this, like if I show up like Gogo and I start explaining how I worked at it, I'm going to lose them 3 seconds in because they will not be able to keep up. So if that's the case, then I'm going to say, oh my gosh, yes. So let me tell you how we work. Here at Gogo's Real Estate, right? Because now I'm meeting them where they meet me. If they're sitting at a table like this, guess what I'm going to do? Sit across the table like this. If they lean forward and talk to me like this, I lean forward and I talk to them like this, because that's where they want me to meet them, right? So if anything, if you do nothing else today, maybe go on YouTube and watch some body language videos. If they call their kids kiddos, you call them kiddos. Oh, how many kiddos you have? You know, in the conversation. So you want to meet them where they're at, because as soon as you are like them, they're going to like you. If they like you, they trust you. If they trust you, they'll do whatever you want them to do. So when you do that whole professional thing, if someone reaches out to me and I met them, let's say at my kid's soccer game, right? And I see that the mom is usually in yoga pants, I am not going to show up all dialed up in high heels in a suit and tie, right? Because I met her in yoga pants, so I'm going to show up in yoga pants. I am one of those agents, and I'm not there dressed to impress. I am there because the knowledge is in my head, and you already chose me and you met me in yoga pants. Right? So keep that in mind of how you are meeting them. If you're in a country club meeting Mr. and Mrs. Smith and they're local millionaires and you met them at the local golf country club, then you're going to have to dress to impress, because if you showed up in yoga pants, that is not going to work. So that's what it means by being professional, but meeting them where they at, because if you are just like them, they're going to like you. If they like you, they trust you. If they trust you, they hire you. So keep that in mind. Thank you. Go, Katie.
Exactly. All right. So this is the point where your referral starts. I don't do referrals by finishing a deal and asking, hey, by the way, can I have your referral when this or this happens? Or reaching out, hey, there's this great listing. Do you know somebody? My referral starts the second I walked into that person's kitchen, sat down at their table, and talked about the buying or selling process. So you need to think in advance that way. All right, so step 3, making it a seamless experience. The client is always number one. I mean, we all know this in the industry, but if you are constantly telling them how busy you are with other deals, or you have a different listing appointment that night, or you're so busy because you have somebody under contract who has this and this going on, they're not going to feel very important. And that's where your referral just went south. You need to have customer service at the top of your mind all the time. So that person is your one and only always when you're having the conversation with them. And I think that this is really important. I've learned this through the recent transactions I've done. If you're working with another agent or whatever it may be, making sure that you're the one communicating to your clients and the agents on the other side, that it's not always a virtual assistant or transaction coordinator. If you are, especially as a new agent, I find that really important, because I'm trying to get my service out there and get my name out there, and for me to get the referrals. And so they need to experience that from me, and not just say, oh yeah, I worked with Katie, but I actually only talked to her, when she came to put the sign in the yard, and then when she presented the offer, and I didn't hear from her again until the closing table. So they want to hear from you. They're hiring you. Every step of the way, always communicating what's going on and using words cautiously. I think especially in the market that we're in, and I felt this as a new agent with this crazy market that we're in, I was stressed out, and I was thinking, okay, well, you're up against 6 other offers and you're the only one that has a contingent home. Like, how are we going to make this work? It's important to communicate, but not project that stress onto them. So always, taking a step back, taking a breather, and thinking about the words that you're actually using when you're communicating, being one step ahead, deadlines, timelines, knowing where that abstract is, and always being ready to pivot in the business that we're in. Things are going to go south, sideways, upside down. It's never going to be as seamless as we want it to be. So just always thinking one step ahead, ready to pivot and do the damage control that you need.
Can I add on to that? So instead of, let's say you have something hit the fan, right? And now you have to call your clients and kind of tell them about it. I don't usually call them until I have a resolution. So if I have a problem, and I'll call the title company and say, what can we do about this? How are we going to fix it? I call the lender and say, what can we do about how can we fix it? And then when I call my client with the problem, I say, do you want to hear the good news or the bad news? They always start with the bad news. Okay, the bad news is something just hit the fan. Do you want to hear the good news? Yes. The good news is I already fixed it. This is what we're going to do, right? It's a totally different conversation to be like, we need proof of employment and your lender is on vacation. They're not answering their phone. So instead of now putting it back on the client, now I'm going to call the lender's office and I'm going to ask for the manager, and I'm going to ask whoever is working and not on vacation to freaking look at that file and get the verification of employment done. So then I can call my client back and tell them that it's verified, it's good to go. I'll see you Friday at the closing table. Right? So it's a totally different conversation. So when you have a problem, fix it before you call the client. Go, Katie.
Absolutely. And I think that goes right into your experience with other professionals that you're bringing into your transaction. So like I mentioned, your referral starts from the second you sign those papers, before you sign your papers. And you need to already be thinking about who else is involved in this process, because if one of these people make it go south, that might reflect on you, and you're going to lose that relationship, that deal, that referral moving forward. So revamping your list of professionals that you work with. Make sure your photographer is amazing. Not just that they do great work, but if the client's home, when they come over to take the pictures, that you're interacting together, that they feel good, that you know it's going to be a good match between your client and the photographer. Same with the agent on the other side. We don't always get to pick the agent on the other side, but while you're working with them, make sure you're that buffer in between, so that, like Gogo just said, you're not always blaming something on the other person, but you have a resolution. So if you're not a big fan of that agent, just go into the deal knowing that you're going to always need to be on top of things before you're communicating. Lender, inspector, escrow officer, there's a moving company involved, home improvement. revamp that listing in your database so that every single step in that experience is amazing, wonderful. The client can walk away and say, yes, Katie did an amazing job. She made everything so easy. Everyone she brought into the process was great to work with, because there are options usually. And if you don't like the option you've been working with, you need to go out and find a new one.
I agree. And all of those vendors make sure, I mean, think about it. All of your transactions, can you close it without a lender? Most of the time, no, unless it's cash, right? But how many of your buyers are actually cash? Can you close it without a title company or an attorney's office if you're an attorney state? Can you close it with an inspector and appraisal? You have to have these relationships. But I remember it took me about $9 million in leads referred to a lender before I realized I never got one. This is not it wasn't a two-way highway. I was feeding his family, but he wasn't feeding mine. So make sure that you have those relationships figured out, not only that they're throw you a bone here and there, right? They help you feed your family too, but also that they're answering their phone calls on a Saturday. Because now if I have a $400,000 pre-approval, I'm talking back in the day when I was able to make a 320 offer and still win the deal. I can't make that with a 400,000 pre-approval, right? Because I'm giving my buyers buying power away. But now it's Saturday, I need to make an offer, right? And my lender is not responding. Now I have to make the offer with 400,000 pre-approval or I potentially lose the deal. So make sure you have those relationships in places that they work the way you want to work. Also, I had a home inspector one time that it took me about 5 transactions to realize that he's a scary cat, whatever that's called. Like he makes a big deal about an HGFI outlet or whatever those things called by the sink. You know what I mean? I'm like, for Pete's sakes, that's like $8. You know what I mean? So make sure that those relationships, they represent you and they don't scare your clients away by a tiny little thing like radon, for example. In Michigan, we have radon. In Michigan, we have arsenic. In Michigan, sometimes we have bats in the attic. It's okay. It happens all the time. But you can't be like, oh my gosh, it passed. You have a pest invasion. You have bats in and then my clients are running for the hills when it's literally a $500 fix and you have a company come out. They relocate the bats. Okay. It's a relocation bat service, come to find out. It's just, so make sure you have all of those relationships in places. They work the way you want to work. They handle clients the way you want to work. Here's the other thing. What if you're a bubbly, happy-go-lucky, you work with this speed and then your photographer shows up high out of his mind? He does an amazing job, but he showed up high every time. I was like, we can't do that, right? You just can't do that. He was slow. He couldn't form a sentence. He wouldn't make eye contact. He did an amazing job with these photos, but it wouldn't work. So make sure that the parties that you're referring your clients to, because your transaction can fall apart for whatever reason. And these vendors on the right-hand side, they're a reflection of your business. So you want to make sure that they do business the way you want to, and they're reliable.
Exactly. And then having that relationship with them. If I have an issue with the inspection and my client's reading through the report and says, whoa, 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 what's this? I don't remember talking about this on the initial walkthrough with the inspector. I want to be able to call him, get him on the phone right away, have him explain this to my client, whether it's a big deal or not, like Gogo said, and be able to calm that situation down. If it's just an inspector that I picked out of a directory who I've never worked with before and doesn't know me or the way I work my business, that's not going to happen. And that can make the whole entire deal fall apart. So having that relationship with that person so that you know you can rely on them and again, make that experience seamless. All right. So how was your service? This is going to guide 100% whether or not that relationship is going to lead to another transaction with those people, or if they're going to refer you out to others. So the referral, like I said, I don't ask for a referral. I don't say, hey, you know, I think we had a really great time together. Can you give my name to so-and-so? Here's my business card to hand out at your next BNI meeting. I just know that the referral comes from staying top of mind, staying social with them, being involved and being interested. You close the deal, don't drop off the face of the earth. Follow up a week later, 6 months later, a year later. How's everything at home? I'd love to stop by and see your updates, whatever it is, things that your job does not require, but where you're going above and beyond so that you're staying top of mind all the time. And all of that circles back to the lead generation again.
I mean, I am that random agent, and if I'm showing a house down on the street and I remember that house because I just sold it last year, right? I'm going to knock on the door. after my showing and be like, hey guys, how are you guys? I haven't seen you. How's the house treating you? I was just in the neighborhood. Sorry that I just stopped by randomly, but I was just showing you a house in the neighborhood. Wanted to see how you guys doing and how the house is treating you. Do you need any help? We have our preferred vendors list. Do you need a painter, a dog walker? Do you need a local daycare? Do you need any recommendations for whatever? And then work on your preferred vendors list, guys, because that is a huge, amazing opportunity because you always give before you take, right? So now here I am offering you discounted services. All of these companies that we've worked with in the past, I just stopped by, showed my face. Now you don't have a chance to forget me, right? And I'm offering you something. I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking you how the house is treating you. And if you need a recommendation for anything, and then you email them the preferred vendors list and they get discounts. And those are the companies that you worked with and you currently work with. Yes.
Can I pop in? There was a question on the Facebook chat asking you, how do you follow up and ask for referral, or how do you ask for referrals before you actually close the deal? What's your follow-up? What's your process to get those referrals?
You know, it goes back to just.
Oh, okay. I'm a little,
Yeah.
sorry. You don't.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to that experience and not specifically asking for it. And, you know, here's my info to give to somebody, just making sure that I'm always top of mind for the clients I was just working with. So that I don't even need to ask for the referral, because they're just going to want to give it away and they're going to want to share on social media. Look at the new house we just bought. Katie Caven was the best agent we ever had. We highly recommend her. Someone's going to find that in the comments. They're going to be searching later. Hey, does anyone know a great agent? Oh yeah, we had the best experience with Katie. And you know what Gogo said about having that preferred vendor list and stopping by the house and everything. Our clients do not know what our job description is. They don't know that it should start, you know, at this point and end at this point. They expect that they just paid you so much money when in their mind, they could have posted it on Facebook and done the same job as you and maybe even better, you know, so you need to blow that out of the water and go beyond their expectations. And they have a blurred line where your relationship begins and ends as an agent, because you are always there. You're always involved. You're always top of mind. And that's where the referral comes from.
Love
All right.
it.
So
Also, if you set anniversary dates in your calendar, so let's say you close this Friday, right? You're going to set an anniversary date 6 months from now. You're going to set another reminder a year from now. And then after that, you set it yearly. In your CRM program is going to pop up that today you need to talk to Jessica Smith because Jessica Smith closed with you a year ago, right? So now you're going to call Jessica and say, Jessica, do you know what day it is? And she's like, no, I have no idea. She's like, you moved into your home a year ago. How is the home treating you? And then you take the conversation from there. Does anything needs to be repaired? Oh my gosh, we just found out we have arsenic in our system. Oh, no problem. I'll send you a preferred vendors list. We have our reverse osmosis company on there. Feel free to give them a call. They also give certain discounts and hopefully your water situation gets resolved. Don't even ask for anything. Just check in with them. So every time you close on a transaction, set a reminder in your calendar. You can do it through whatever CRM program you use, and it will automatically remind you to give them a call on their anniversary date, to stay in front of them. Did you know within 2 years, 80% of the people will forget the realtor's name? They forget who the realtor was 2 years ago. So keep that in mind. You want to stay top of mind. Your job is to stay top of mind.
Exactly. So analyzing your network is our first action step. Think of who your team players are. My husband's a teacher and a coach. He has students that he has taught for years and coached, and they go to college and they grow up and then they want to come back and have families. My husband's a great referral source. Plus he has financial interest, obviously, in how well I do. You know, the dance moms of my dance program, they know me, they know my work ethic, they know how I interact with people, they know how I problem solve. They're a great referral source for me. The people at my church, same thing, they know my personality. You know, whatever it may be, who are the team players that are in your corner that, again, you're not necessarily asking, hey, when you meet someone who has real estate need, like, please give them my name. No, they just know, they know that you do this, they know how you work, they know you do a great job, and they're going to be in your corner. So analyzing your network, who you have, and is it big enough? If you have a network that's working well, lean into it and give it more time and energy. If you think, well, I do a lot of home officing, or I'm in my broker's office a lot working at a desk and I don't really have time to do all these other things, remember that being busy is your best friend in this business. If you have time that you aren't sure how to fill, and so you're trying to think of like, well, I wonder if there's extra calls today, or, you know, maybe I should do, and you're trying to rack your brain, that means you have room to step into that network and add to your database. Get involved in something else in your community, you know, add a new gym class to your list, whatever it may be. If you're getting involved, you are growing your business. Getting social. So don't be afraid of social media. Take Gogo Bootcamp, learn about it, display confidence, be a resource on social media. What makes you different than every other real estate agent that's in that area or at that brokerage or, you know, showing up on their social media feed? How can you relate to people? And you can own that and take that as what makes you different. So, you know, my background as an OT, I love home modifications and making homes you know, accessible to people with disabilities. I'm a mom, I've got 3 young kids. I can relate to people who are looking for a toy room or trying to figure out how to home office with kids around. I know that's what they're looking for in a home. I know things about, you know, trying to make your home healthier. And so they might really value this or this in the inspection process versus, you know, whether there's a few shingles falling off. Know your audience, know what you're good at, and lean into that on social media and in your network day to day.
Can I add on to this? And also when people ask you what you do for a living, how boring it is. Oh, I'm a top producing realtor. I've been licensed since 2011, blah, blah, like, oh, shoot me now, right? Like, I don't want to sell myself to you. So at Tony Robbins, they taught us this, and we all had to stop and think for a second of describing yourself and what you do for a living, more of a joke, like a conversation starter. So here's how I describe when people ask me what I do for a living. I say, I make people homeless very fast and they pay me a lot of money for it. And they're like, what's that? What do you mean you make people homeless, right? I sell your house, you're homeless overnight because I'm really freaking good at my job. So figure out what you do, because then it's not the same conversation. Oh, I'm a top producing realtor in Brighton, Michigan. Can I own your business? Like, it's a totally different conversation. I threw a spin at it, right? I was like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a realtor, you know what I mean? And then you kind of take the conversation from there. So figure out what is that you do and describe yourself. Like if you were in an elevator or you and me were sitting at a bar, right? And I asked you, what do you do for a living? What would you say? Very comfortably, look me in the eye and tell me, what would you say, who you are and what you do for a living, in a way that I would want to absolutely work with you. Cool? So figure that out. Look yourself in the mirror and answer the question today, what you do for a living. Love it, Kate. Go.
And then step 4, reflecting on your customer service. So like we said, that referral starts before you even walk into the home meeting them for the first time. So how was your service that entire time? And revamp that professional list of vendors. If there was somewhere in there that you feel could have been improved to make the experience more seamless, or you remember, oh, I'm going to learn from that next time, revamp that list constantly. Keep it ever changing so it's always the best possible list for your clients. And then number 5, reflect on your time and money usage. So we are going to be the best real estate agents we can be, and we are going to want to do all of these transactions if we actually love doing it. If we love working with people, we love showing up to work, we are excited about the job that we do, and that gets conveyed to our clients through the process. If you are running yourself to the point of burnout and stress because our market is crazy and you're like, well, I don't have time to do this and this and this, set boundaries, because you are going to love your job. Your clients are going to respect it. And when you show up for that listing appointment, or you hop on that phone call, or you go to that 3-hour-long home inspection, you're going to be at the top of your game. You're going to be feeling good about it, and they're going to feel that energy. So setting boundaries isn't a horrible thing. It's a really good thing for your business. And then think about, as far as that money usage, what's your return on investment? What's your ROI with what you're doing? My car magnet, that cost me about, I don't know, $20. It was a lot cheaper than running all kinds of newspaper ads to every single household for however much money when I had no purpose to do that. I got in front of just as many eyes for a lot less, thinking about how I use my business and what my lifestyle looks like as far as return on investment. I hadn't sold houses yet. I didn't have a bunch of marketing money to put forward towards it. But again, as you use that and you think about it and you analyze, is this worth it? And is what I'm doing making me happy? And is that reflected upon to my clients? They're going to want to work with you because you love your job, you're good at it, and all of that energy is conveyed to them. That's it.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
That was amazing, Katie. Thank you so much. If you could stop sharing, that way we can see everybody, and then we can open it up for questions very quick. So guys, ask absolutely anything. This is why Katie's here, and we have a little bit of her time. We have about, do we have you until the hour, Katie? Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to put it on gallery because I like to see everybody. So just ask absolutely anything. Anything that you want Katie to go more in detail with. Or myself. I'm here too, I guess. We don't bite. No questions. How about in the comments? Are there questions in the comments?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if everyone knows how to mute because someone might be talking and might be muted. So.
Oh, got it. Okay, so just if you're on your cell phone, just tap the screen and the bottom left, you have a microphone. Uncheck that. If you're on your laptop, usually it's probably on the bottom left as well, or you have a bar somewhere that has a microphone probably crossed out.
We do have quite a bit of people asking if you'll share your slides once you're done, or I said we'll share them afterwards.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll share it in the Team Gogo private Facebook group, and then just reach out to the person who invited you here. They can grab the link from there and send it to you. And Renee has a question.
I've got a question. So when you're going to a listing presentation and you're trying to explain the process, your process, how do you present it in an organized way so that you're not like just putting a bunch of papers on the table and explaining it to them? Because I think I've had a little bit of a blot, like a, I don't know. I feel like I'm not maybe presenting it where it's neat and orderly and all that kind of stuff. Do you have an outline, or like, what do you do?
Katie, do you want to answer it?
Yeah, you know, at EXP, we have a whole bunch of resources. And so what I found was just a one pager that has a little circle diagram that says, here's where you start the process. Let's say a listing appointment. You want to sell your home. Here's step one. And it goes through a little circle diagram and just says, you know, this is what happens along the way. And I literally just give them the one pager and I point it out and talk through each step. And that way I'm not overwhelming them with all kinds of information. It's something they can keep and revisit after I leave. And it's very simple. It's not getting into the nitty gritty of, okay, at a home inspection, this and this and this could go wrong and make sure we're going to do this. It's just very basic, simple. Here's the steps of listing your home. Are you ready? We're here at step one already. Next, we just have to sign the papers.
Okay, same question when you're talking about pricing the house, you know, because you're going to present different sources of why you came up with the price that you think you could sell the house for. How do you present that in a nice, neat package?
Yeah. So, you know, with all of these things that I'm talking about, I don't spend, when I talked about time and money and how are you using it, I don't spend my time putting together, right or wrong, putting together a super appealing CMA that's all fancy and has nice colors and it's 15 pages. In my area, actually, there are very few homes that were on the MLS before I got here because most of the brokerages are not part of the MLS. And even for the bigger city where they are, what I do is I find those comparable properties, I put them in a Google spreadsheet and I break down, you know, how many bedrooms, how many baths, square footage, all of the things you would use, and come up with price per square footage. I have it all in one spreadsheet. I give them the one pager printouts from the MLS or whatever description I have from tax data maybe, so they can see it and put eyes to it. And we just look at that one spreadsheet on one piece of paper. It's not fancy, doesn't have a lot of colors or, you know, too much information, but I just say, okay, here's the properties I used. Here's why I came up with this number. Here's what I suggest. And at the end of the day, you are the client. You get to come up with your price, but here's how I came up with this number.
Great, thank you.
Can I add on to that? So you should have folders, right? So this is my old one, but this is the one that we have handy here. You can also have logos printed, right? So if you're mailing out anything or things like that, you could just put it right on there so it looks professional. So what we do when we go out to a listing, I have my file. When you open it, we usually have two business cards. I have business card holders down here. So it will have my business card. It will have the team leads business card. So in this case, it's Christy and the agent that's working on the transaction, their business card as well, staple right to the file. Inside, we have a brag sheet. I don't know if this one has a brag sheet for an example. So in the brag sheet, because they usually kind of know you already, because you did you were, or you were referred by someone, right? So they already bragged about you. So now I don't have to sell myself because someone already sold me. Or they met you on social media. So they already trusted you enough to invite you for an opportunity to list their home. You might not be, they might invited 3 other agents as well, but I don't want to be the one sitting there across the table selling you myself. So I have a brag sheet inside. Now, when I walk in the home, I also have a CMA. That CMA is pulled strictly out of the database through public records. When I walk in on the door and say, these numbers that are in here are based off of how you pay taxes. So if you put on a deck and you put in a pool and finish the basement and you forgot to tell Uncle Sam, then those numbers are not reflected here, right? Because you forgot to pay taxes on that. So the numbers that I'm pulling this information on is strictly on public records. Now, after you and me get to walk through the home, which I don't spend more than 10, 15 minutes. A house is a house, right? 5 bedroom, 4 bath, finished basement, unfinished basement, backyard, fence, not fence, call it a day, walk out on the door, right? What I care about, how old are your appliances? How old is your roof? Do you have well or septic, or do you have city water? Do you have a special assessments on your property? Like, just have those questionnaires. So when you walk into the home, eventually you will get so good at it, then I don't need my questionnaire. Right? It's in my head. I know exactly what question comes after what question after what question. And then when I leave at the appointment, I tell them now I have the right information to go back and run what I like to call real numbers. I'm going to call you with those real numbers, and then you get to decide if you would like to work with me. And then I'll explain how we work. But sometimes I explain how we work right at the table. So the things that you want to bring, invest into a flyer so you look professional, right? Who do I sell? What did Katie say? What do we sell?
Yourself.
I sell me, right? I sell myself and my services. Why you should work with me, right? With me, why you should work with me. So that should be on your folder. In your folder, you should have your brag sheet, and that explains who you are, how long you've been in the business, how many properties you sold, you're number 1 in the nation, whatever those credentials are. And nice pictures, meet the team. If you have a team, if you have a transaction coordinator, you're going to have their picture on there, the phone number, email address, how they can get a hold of them. If you have different team members, you're going to have all that on there. If you have a preferred lender, a preferred title company, you should have all that on there on your brag sheet. Then you should show up with their CMA. And that CMA is not the true numbers. I don't know the true numbers until I see your home. You know, you could have granite countertops, but I can't find a fireplace in the living room because you're a hoarder and you have it to the ceiling. I am serious. I showed a house. I couldn't find the fireplace in the living room. That happens. That's why you need to see the properties in person. And why do I want to see the property in person? Because I want you to meet me face to face, because that is my best opportunity to win you over. As soon as I can get in front of you, I can close the deal. There's nothing you can throw at me that I don't have an answer for it, because I'll meet you where you meet me. So always what you want to do is get in on the door. Your best job is just getting on the door. Then look over the property, then send them real numbers, earn their business. And as soon as I earned your business, I'm going to email you the contracts to sign. But at the closing, or sorry, at the listing, I'm going to explain you how we work, right? So I'm going to tell you, if you want to work with me, this is how it works. We charge 6%, 3% goes to the buyer's agent, 3% stays with our company. We also charge a $4.95 transaction fee. We use professional photography and videography, no cost to you. And you can fire me at any time with no cost involved unless you're on the contract. If you're under contract, you're stuck with me. You need to know this. Even if you don't have a client, stand in the mirror and talk to yourself until you can sell yourself confidently, looking someone in the eye, and they don't question of why on earth they should work with you. They'll sign right there and then. And they're like, can we, like, do you have paperwork for us to sign? I'm like, no, we'll just email it to you if you decide that you want to work with us, right? Because I'm not desperate. I'm not that desperate agent that I'm going to walk in here and reduce my commission. From day one, I always had the attitude, you're lucky you get to work with me. It's a totally different conversation, right?
I have a few questions on Facebook.
Yes, go.
Okay.
We have questions on Facebook, so Christy's going to read it.
So Jessica, is it Questionnaire?
Yeah.
How do you get over the first deal jitters? How did you get over those?
You just jump in and do it. Fake it till you make it, as far as the confidence and you make it happen. There were a few times, my first deal, the first contract I wrote was the clients that I didn't know from out of state. And again, when you're working with people, you know, that can change the stress situation, you know, either one way or the other. But the first contract I wrote, these buyers didn't know that I had never done anything in real estate before. They didn't know I have never closed a deal. I've never walked a house.
I don't need to know, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're sitting in basically this abandoned farm home and we're writing up this offer, and they're asking me I think the question was about home warranties and like writing down a certain amount for the home warranty. And I was like, I didn't learn this in real estate school. I don't know. So I just said, oh yeah, actually hold on 1 second. I'm going to grab this call from my mentor and we'll ask him while we're at it. And I call him and, okay, Todd, what do I know about home warranties? What do we put here on this contract? So, it really was just that exuding confidence to them, jittery inside, but just jumping in and doing it. And once you do it a few times, the jitters are gone.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorite sentences. If they say blah, 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 and you don't know the answer to it, you say, oh my gosh, I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I know the person who does.
Yep.
Right? You step outside, you make a phone call, ask a question, walk back in and say, this is what we're going to do. I don't know the answer to the question, but I know the person who does. And then you go and make a phone call. It's perfectly fine. I mean, not two transactions are the same. There are
Never.
still something you will learn on every single transaction in mine 11 years in.
Yep.
I have zero problem telling you, I don't know the answer to the question. I'm going to call the title company. I'm going to call the lender. I'm going to call the inspector, the appraiser, whatever the question is about. And then you answer the questions. As long as you can get them answers, that's all you need to do. I did want to give you one more tip on the listing side, and I forgot. I always ask them, if I do my job, then I'm really good at it, and I make you homeless overnight, right? Where are you going to go? And how are you going to pay for your new house? Here's the reason why I learned this lesson. I made the sellers homeless overnight. And they forgot to mention that they forgot to pay some bills on medical bills, and their credit was hit. And now they were homeless and they did not qualify for a new home. I did my job, but if I was a true expert, I should have asked them, where are you going to go and how? Because if I was a true expert, I should have prepared them to make sure that they can afford a future home. Just because you can sell this one, that doesn't mean that you qualify to buy the next one.
Yeah.
So start with the buy side, start with helping them. If I do my job right and I'll make you homeless overnight, how are you going to purchase the next home? Are you going to use all the funds? Do you own this home free and clear? So then we're just going to take the funds from this one to the new one. Can you qualify for a mortgage? Maybe you have some debt that we need to pay down before we sell your home. Because right now the market, the way it is, the house will sell itself, right? You put it on the market, boom, sold.
Yep.
And now what? So make sure that you always try to help them on the buy side before you make them homeless. So I always ask that question at the listing appointment.
Awesome.
Quick question, is that a EXP folder, or did you get that folder from?
No, I just wanted, this is from
Vistaprint.
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 So we just went on there and designed it. We do have, this is my old one actually from Still Real Estate One. So you just go on there and design it, and you have to be, you have to obey by your state rules. If you if you have to have license number, broker's address, phone number, whatever on there, we put that on the back and my information in the front.
Yeah, but with Build to Sign, when you get the free credits for Build to Sign, you do get 25 free folders, and I believe you can redesign them now. Before we couldn't, but now I think we can. So
cool.
That's kind of cool.
But yeah, invest into that. Like anything you can. Marketing, guys, it's 100% write-off. A t-shirt to show up at your children's basketball game is promotion. It's 100% write-off. That magnet that Katie has on her car, it's 100% write-off. Of course, this is my disclosure. Check with your CPA. Your state rules could be different, yada, yada, yada. I'm no CPA. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But check with your CPA, and you always want to market. Any opportunity you get, it's a conversation starter.
We have a few more questions.
Yes.
Let's see. So Michelle Tortella.
Yeah.
That's a long one. I am meeting with a luxury contractor today. Do you have any advice on building a good relationship? Is there anything in specific I should be saying?
So contractor as in like they come and fix people homes. Like if I want to put on a deck and I called you, Michelle, then you would say, oh my gosh, I have the perfect contractor for you. Is that what we're talking about here? Hopefully,
that was
because that was on Facebook, so we don't know.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, again, I'm going back to the preferred vendors list. So on the preferred vendors list, what I would want after that conversation, that face-to-face that I had with this contractor, I would say, hey, would you like to be in our preferred? Awesome. Would you like to be in our preferred vendors list? Okay, so let me tell you how this works. We refer at least 3 handymen, or at least 3 contractors, at least 3 painters. You remember in real estate schools, what is that called if you only have one? What is it called?
Steering.
It's called steering. We are not allowed to steer. So whatever you refer 3 a minimum, right? So I say on this, we have at least 3 contractors that we worked with in the past, we trust and we recommend. All of them will give some sort of a discount to a Gogo's real estate team customer. So is there anything that you can give? So he might say, I'll give $200 off of the first job they do with me. He might say, I'll give a first, whatever that vendor is doing, there is something that they can give. So then your customer, who's the end user, right? They benefit from choosing this company. And they also, of course, only refer people that you trust, because what's going to happen if they don't do a good job? Well, Gogo referred them to me. So it's a privilege for any of these companies to be on my preferred vendors list. You do not get on there unless I personally don't trust you and use you. So don't just add people on there, because you could potentially ruin your own reputation. Only people that you would personally use and trust, put them on there. So it's a benefit to them because they're generating business. And guess what's going to happen? That painter that right now is painting my garage, he gets 2-3 calls a week from my vendors list, right? All we do is just send it out to our clients, past clients, current clients, future clients preparing their home for the market. Now this painter gets these jobs. Now the painter is like, oh my gosh, I should probably send someone to Gogo because she just sent me 3 jobs just this week alone. Now he's at a party this weekend and people are talking over the bonfire about, oh my gosh, I need to sell their home. Oh my gosh, I have the best realtor for you. Her name is Gogo. Let me tell you all about her, right? Because now I gave before I take. And think of it this way. When it occurred to me the very first time, raise your hand if you're expecting your friends and family to use you as the realtor. Right? Everybody, we expecting them to use us, right? You want them to call you. Yes. Now, when you need someone to lay hardwood floors, do you call a random company or do you call a friend who lays hardwood floors? Do you even know which friend of yours lays hardwood floors? Right? But you're expecting him to use you and know that you're a realtor, but you don't know that he lays hardwood floors. So with the preferred vendors list, I would start with your friends and family first. So when you create your preferred vendors list, it's a Google document. You create that where they can plug in all their information, and then you can individually call them and say, hey, Jessica, oh my gosh, we met at yoga, right? Now we are friends. You went out with girls a couple of times. I just want to understand, what do you and your husband do for a living? Maybe you have a business that I could support you. And then she says, oh my gosh, my husband's a painter. Perfect. Do you think he would be interested in being a painter on our preferred vendors list, where we set all of our Gogo's real estate team clients or customers or whatever you call yours on your end? They're going to say yes. So now I'm supporting a friend. Guess who she's going to support next time when one of her friends needs a realtor? Why? Because if you feed my family, I will make sure to feed yours. Yeah. So if you're expecting your friends and family to use you as your realtor, you better know what they do for a living. Because you get what you give, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a few more minutes?
Yes. Next question.
Okay.
Go.
Katie, do you have more listings or buyers? And then do you have anything you'd like to say to get the conversation started? So it's a twofer.
You know, I'm pretty split down the middle on listings and buyers, but there have been many that are both, right? So I've got a client who's selling and I'm also helping them find a house. But otherwise it's been split pretty 50-50. And then I'm sorry, what was the second part of that? Something to get the conversation
Do you
started?
have a conversation starter that you go to?
No, I don't, because it's all been based on our relationship all the way up to this point.
Perfect. Yeah. So initially I would probably just ask something like, hey, where do you guys live? Because I just met you, right? I just want to like start a basic conversation. And that comes up with, oh my gosh, we live in Hidden Lake. It's like, oh, guess what? My very first $1 million listing was in Hidden Lake. That made me the $1 million baby. Whatever that you can throw into that conversation. But if you do social media right, you don't need a conversation starter. They're going to be like, are you that Gogo chick? Right? Because they see me all the time on social media here locally. They have a small community. So your goal is to get recognized. So then they start a conversation. I didn't even tell you I'm a realtor. You already knew I'm a realtor. You started a conversation. It's a totally different conversation. So concentrate on social media and putting yourself out with that shameless self-promotion. It doesn't have to be real estate all the time. As Katie said, you know, like I'm into health stuff too. So let's say we're doing a home inspection. In the regular home inspection, radon is not a part. Arsenic is not a part of a regular home inspection here in Michigan. So guess how I'm going to start a conversation when I'm recommending a home inspector? I say, hey guys, you have well and septic. Since you have well water, more than likely you have a 50-50 chance you're going to have arsenic. Arsenic is not a part of your regular home inspection. Let me tell you a little bit about arsenic, right? And now we have something in common. They're like, oh my gosh, we had reverse osmosis in our previous home. I said, okay, well, let's see if this one has reverse osmosis. If not, we're going to have to negotiate it into the deal if that's important to you. Radon, same thing. So if there are certain things, so now we use a Berkey. So today, instead of talking reverse osmosis, I'm going to post about my Berkey, how that is the best thing since sliced bread when it comes to removing arsenic and all the other chemicals from your water. Now I found someone who has something in common with me, right? They might not be on my Gogo's real estate page because they want to buy a home anytime soon, but they just found something in common with me. We have common ground. Next time I post about my bulldog. Now, I don't want you to do a lot of pets and food and kids because that's what you should do on your personal, but I will get transactions out of other moms that met me on a diabetes group because my oldest is type 1 diabetic. I might meet people because I have a bulldog and the bulldog lover community is huge, right? So if you don't allow people to get to know you, they're not going to find common grounds. That's what's going to catch them. So you constantly stay on social media. It doesn't have to be, this is my newest listing. This is the open house for the weekend. This is my closing. It just goes on Friday. Here's the picture with the title company key. You know what I mean? Like that's boring. People are on average on the market for 6 months, every 7 to 10 years. You're going to lose them if that's the only thing that you post. But allow them to get to know you by things that still tie back to real estate, like a reverse osmosis system, right? In a home inspection. But you didn't talk about, hey, buy a house with me. I just talked about how important it is to have clean drinking water.
We have 2 more questions. If we have just, okay,
Yes,
so, is it okay to do a showing without a client in a home that isn't your listing and do a video showing to put on your own Facebook page?
I would ask the listing agent. So what I would do is reach out to a listing agent and say, hey, my name is Gogo. I love the property that you just listed on 123 Main Street. I'm wondering if you would allow me to show it, but I'm just there without a client. Would you allow me to go live and help you promote it and bring you the buyer? If they say yes, go ahead and do it. And have it in writing, right? Email.
Yes.
Email.
Yes.
That's what I would do.
Last one, I think, or maybe there's 2. What if you were to give them your own published book with your personal information on it instead of a business card to stand out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have that Isaiah, we had a training on that you can buy it from Nolly Williams. So if you go to Nolly, Knolly Williams, his website, he has pre-created professional realtor books. Then all you need to do is buy the rights to it. And of course you pay for the printing and publishing and all that, but then you just put your information in the front and back. So it becomes your book, but the book was already written. So you don't have to write one.
Yep. Last one from Isaiah again. Have you done video outreach for social media lead generation as an option?
Absolutely. So when our leads come in, Clancy, she's sitting right here. She has to get back to him within 5 minutes. And the very first thing that goes out, it's a video. And it's a personalized video. And how does it start? Do you start by, hi, my name is Gogo?
What do you think?
You start, hey, Jessica, let's say it's a buy side, right? So you say, hey, Jessica, I saw that you looked at 123 Main Street. I wanted to let you know we have an open house this weekend. We wanted to let you know that I'm available today between 4 and 6. My name is Gogo. Let me tell you how we work over here. I would love the opportunity to work with you. You call the people by name first. Why? Because you acknowledge them. And people like to be acknowledged. 2, because they know this is not a video that goes out to everybody because you called me by name. 3, you got back to them within 5 minutes. So you are on the game. I'm not too busy to get back to you. Right? Now, if you are too busy, because we just went through this whole spiel of Clancy's head is spinning and she's out showing houses and leads are coming in and nobody can freaking answer them. If that's the case, what we did, we created an automated drip text message that goes out with a video. And it says, hey guys, and then I'll introduce myself and tell a little bit, thank you so much for reaching out. Let's say it's a buy side, okay? So I talk about, oh my gosh, I'm so excited you're looking for a new home. My name is Gogo Bethke. I'm the team lead at Gogo's real estate team. You found your way into our database through a social media post, to a website, to a blah, blah, blah. And then I'll explain how the process works here. Someone from our team is going to reach back to you within 5 minutes from a phone number ending in 0289. Why do I say that phone number? Stranger danger, right? How many phone number? How many times do you answer your phone when you don't know the phone number? Never. Clancy answered right. Clancy said all the time. She's a great realtor, right? She answers every single phone call. Good job, Clancy. You passed. But the truth is, most of us don't, right? Most of us like, I don't know the number. I'm not going to answer. So by leaving that number, and I don't leave the full number because they're going to forget you. I leave the last 4 digits. I say someone from the team is going to call you back within 5 minutes from a phone number ending in 0289. Thank you so much for considering us for the job. We're looking forward to working with you. And that's a video I shot on the buy side and a video that I shot on the listing side. And it automatically goes out in 2 different ways. As soon as the lead comes in through KV Core, it goes out via text message if we have their phone number, but it also goes out via email. Okay, automatically. Then Clancy now has 5 minutes because I just earned her 5 minutes, right? Now Clancy has 5 minutes to call that person, but usually she calls. If they don't answer, she sends another video message showing who she is. So she calls them by first name, introduces herself that she's on the Gogo's Real Estate local team, and then says, hey, I just called you. I wanted you to have a face with the name. We're playing phone tag. My cell phone number is this. Please call me back. And then she takes it from there. Right? So video from every angle video.
You video off an app or just off your phone and then send it?
So you can do it both. You can do it through KV Core if you have it. We use KV Core for our CRM program. So if you have KV Core, you can do it through the app, or you can definitely do it from your cell phone. Now, if you're using Facebook, for example, for these, or Instagram, do not send more than 10 a day. So for example, let's say this is not a lead came in, right? This is Renee, you introducing yourself because Katie said, who do you know? And do they know what you do for a living? So let's say you just met someone at the grocery store and you guys became Facebook friends. Right? Now you're going to send her a video message. It's like, oh my gosh, Jessica, it was so nice to get to know you, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you a little about myself. If you're doing that, trying to earn their business, do not send more than 10 a day. Facebook will shut down your account for spamming. Okay. So you have to keep it under 10 video message sent to people that are in your sphere, your Facebook friends with them, but you're still marketing a service, right? So Facebook doesn't want you to start sending 100 a day. Yeah, so keep it under 10 to keep your account safe.
Send a message, no video.
Even if it's just a message, if you send more than 10 a day, they're going to start looking at it as spam and they can shut your account down, even on your own personal Facebook. Yeah, yeah. Because, you know, there's this thing called the artificial intelligence and AI. They literally see that it's a duplicated message. They say you copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So you don't.
If I do different.
If you do different, that's
personalize that, you can do more.
Yeah, but it's still, they want you to keep it under 10 to be safe. Well, Katie, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for staying after the hour. How easy is it to be a top producing agent after Katie's presentation?
It sounds like a piece of cake.
I just need to talk to the people that I already know.
Yeah.
Right? Done. Katie, I'm so proud of you. You're pulling amazing numbers and you made it so simple. Seriously, it's like, yeah, I can easily do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And it is. That's why when we were talking about this training, I was like, well, I don't really know what to say. It just is everyday sort of conversations. So start there.
You're a
Awesome.
natural.
Thank you so much. Katie, what
Thank
is the
you.
best way for people to get a hold of you if they have questions for you directly?
Sure. My Instagram is private, but it's at Katie Caven _. Otherwise, my email is katie.caven@exprealty.com. And that is a good way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Katie.Caven@realty.com. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Our Team Gogo trainings are usually closed private. If you would like to be business partners with us, you get all of the training. So if you decide that you want to bring your business over to EXP, we would love to have you. Other than that, every last Wednesday, we open it up to the public, first come, first serve. As you can see, the first 100 people get in. And that's it. Thank you so much for being here today. If you like what you hear here and would like to know more, reach out to the person who invited you. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have an awesome day.